Welcome back. In the time we've been gone, rival next week host. Welcome back. In the time we've been gone, my arch rival and Next Week Now host, Trevor Nitschke, is still a bitch. Last I heard, he caused Benghazi. I mean, his last name is Nitzgazi. Coincidence? See more on InfoWars next week. Now, the Kama Sutra. We all know and love it as that book meant to awaken your spirit through sensuality, or the book you accidentally found in your dad's secret drawer, along with condoms and pictures of women other than your mom. Well, since it's now like 3,000 years old, it's become a bit dated, and many members of the lazy, socialist destroyers of society, known as millennials, don't have the time or stamina to carry out the sexual positions depicted in the Kama Sutra. So that's why after all these years, we're finally getting a sequel. That's right, local sexpert Dimitri Freeman is the author of Kama Sutra 2 Sexual Boogaloo. Now personally, I would have preferred a sex book from Ben Shapiro or Jordan Peterson, but I guess they're busy. But we've brought Dimitri in to talk about his new book. Please welcome Dimitri Freeman.
Hey, man.
Hey.
What's good?
Hi, Dimitri. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, man, it's great to be here amongst all you fine people.
So what inspired you to write a sequel to the Kama Sutra?
Well, man, if you haven't noticed, that book is like crazy old, dude. And having read it so many times, I just thought to myself, you know, they should make a sequel to this. And so I decided that I would share my ideas with the world and help others experience that spiritual healing that's offered within its pages.
So what's new in the American sequel that we couldn't get in the dirty foreign original?
Well, man, I've created a whole new catalog of positions that appeals to a brand new generation of sexual adventurers. Here, let me illustrate a few for you.
I don't really think that's...
Yeah, let me see this right here. Oh, wow. All right, so I think you'll like this one here. All right, so I call this one the Next Week Now. So basically, you got someone sort of like a little, like in position here, you know, and then I don't know if y'all can see that over there. And then you got someone who's kind of like bent in like this crazy like W sort of position here. You know, you see that, man? You see that? Oh man, beautiful. And then your final person is bent into another sort of in shape here. And so, you know, as you can see, you've got to be like super flexible to pull this off, man. But just as we bend our bodies, we're bending our souls into a stronger and more flexible state that really allows us to experience the world as we should. You know what I'm saying, man?
Yes. So, hypothetically, let's say I was having some trouble in the bedroom and I hypothetically felt insufficient. What would you recommend I do to boost my confidence and hypothetically keep my partner from cheating on me to get what I can't provide?
Oh, dude, don't worry. I get that question all the time, man. And I think your best bet would be to try this position I call the invisible cuckold.
Sounds interesting.
So basically, you tell your wife, or your husband, if that's how you roll, to turn off all the lights for something a little extra special. You have to make sure it's completely dark, otherwise it won't work.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Then you call me, and I come in and do what you never could, while your wife thinks that it's you. And all you have to do is stand back and watch the magic happen, man.
Wait, just wait a second. How does this help me?
See, dude, that's where you're all wrong. It's not always about you. Maybe if you were more of a nice guy like me, you'd be able to really give that Stacy the pleasure she truly deserves.
Well, I guess you're kind of right. And that's pretty cool that you knew my wife's name was Stacy. Yeah, that's right. I'm married. I just happen to cheat a lot.
Of course I'm right, man. I always am. I mean, I've read a lot about sex on Reddit, so I think I'm pretty much an expert on how to please a woman both physically and, more importantly, spiritually.
Wait a second. You've read a lot about sex on Reddit? What the hell does that mean? What are you trying to pull? Are you even a real sexpert?
Dude, I don't know what you're implying. Of course I'm a real sexpert, and I totally have tons of sex all the time. What do you think? I just never actually had sex, and I just went and read a bunch of stuff online? Are you implying that this whole book deal is just a way for me to finally lose my virginity and prove that I really am a nice guy, and everyone else is just a bunch of self-serving chads? Who would do that? That would be insane and totally not groovy, bro.
Well, did you do that?
No. I mean, of course not. I'm just trying to awaken my inner spirit. You know, man? You really need some spiritual healing. It is really not cool to accuse people of things, you Chad. And you really should read my book. And for the record, I am totally not a virgin.
All right, whatever you say. Dimitri Freeman, everybody.
I'm not a virgin.
Kama Sutra 2, 2 Sutra, will hit all of your favorite bookstores just in time for Valentine's Day, which is over in about 30 minutes. So, let's stay on the topic of sex. Although we love new trim on campus, sex can sometimes be scary. I'm of course talking about sexually transmitted diseases. This past week, Donald Trump claimed in his State of the Union his administration would eliminate the HIV epidemic in the United States within 10 years. Luckily for the Dr. President, we here at Next Week Now predict his plan will be a success. Good job, Donald. Now you might ask yourself, what is Trump's plan? Is it affordable and wide-reaching across many classes and races? Did you sleep with my daughter and now she has crabs? To answer one of those questions, I never claimed to not have crabs. But this end of perhaps the most devastating STD, AIDS, not crabs, must come with a celebration. That's right, everyone. We're throwing AIDS awake. Now, before jumping into who's attending, the what's being served, the can this be ethical, we have to set up some understandings of the event. Firstly, my position as a news anchor who would gladly fondle Donald Trump's dongle means I can invite everyone I want to this event. So clearly, none of you will be attending. Second, if you manage to be invited anyhow, you must bring a gift. To who, you ask stupidly? To HIV. Who will be mourning the loss of AIDS? Because as I learned about 45 minutes before this broadcast, the two are apparently very different. Yes, AIDS will be dead, but HIV is alive and, quite frankly, horny. Third, everyone in attendance must prepare a eulogy to AIDS. Please don't drone on about how your family members suffered with it for years. It's a funeral. It's already sad enough without you trying to hog the spotlight. Lastly, it will be open casket. I will not explain how that works. The wake will be held in New Jersey, the birthplace of AIDS in America. Be sure not to actually interact with anyone from Jersey while there, though, as it's also the birthplace of all the other STDs in America. Of course, the Donald will be there, as well as his most trusted advisor, a wad of cash and a suit. My apologies, I meant most of his administration. Anyone who has or had AIDS is not invited, because we don't need you starting up the spread of it again, you filthy harlots. The only exception will be the ghost of Freddie Mercury, who will arrive about 15 minutes late and talk only about the disappointing editing choices in Bohemian Rhapsody. But he will still praise Rami Malek nonetheless. The wake will be held at 6 p.m. and end a little bit after whenever someone has decided their boredom over not having anything to talk about besides the loss has exceeded their ability to be polite enough to stay out, respect the dead. So, 7:30. With AIDS waving farewell to all of us, it'll leave a power vacuum in the STD community. Some disease must step up to take AIDS' place, or else it'll simply be chaos for those most affected by STDs. College students, but not me. Herpes and HPV will cite that most everyone has them already, and thus are a natural fit. But everyone else will cite the exact same thing and say that you can't be that viral and feel dangerous. AIDS certainly got around to many people, but also killed so many off of it, and it made those alive with AIDS better in a way. It was exclusive, and everyone wants to be exclusive. Color blindness will try to fight its way to the top, so that maybe someone will care about colorblind people until everyone remembers it's neither an STD nor relevant or important to anyone. You hear that, Helen Keller? You don't matter. Ultimately, the new takeover of a prominent dangerous STD remains a mystery, just like whoever gave that previously mentioned daughter crabs. But what we do know for sure is that AIDS will die because Donald Trump shot it. I thank our emperor president. And perhaps the next target of his administration will be crabs for no reason in particular. Well, that's our show, everyone. I hope everyone's night is STD-free and mostly consensual. Mostly. Our final prediction is that you will come back next week, same week time, same week channel. Although I would love to be with you, the white American people, I will not be hosting next week's episode. President Trump has issued a national emergency for the wall, and I will be on the border building it. You gotta do what you gotta do. Until the border crisis is solved, good night and stay a well-regulated militia with the Second Amendment.